death's snare. Let's ask Gautama. Proclaimer, preacher. Attained to the far shore of all phenomena. Awakened. Gone past animosity and fear. Himavata the yakkha. In what has the world arisen? In what does it make acquaintance? From clinging to what is the world? In what is the world afflicted?
The Buddha. In 6 has the world arisen. In 6 does it make acquaintance. From clinging just to 6 is the world. In 6 is the world afflicted.
Himavata the yakkha. Which is that clinging where the world is afflicted? When asked the way leading out, please tell. How is one released from suffering and stress?
The Buddha. The 5 strings of sensuality in the world. With the heart described as the 6th. Being dispassioned for desire there. That's how one's released from suffering and stress. That is the way leading out of the world. Proclaim to you as it really is. I have proclaimed to you. That's how one is released from suffering and stress.
Himavata the yakkha. Who here crosses over the flood? Who here crosses over the ocean? Unestablished, without support. Who doesn't sink into the deep?
The Buddha. Always consummate in virtue. Discerning, well-centered. Internally percipient. Mindful. One crosses over the flood. Hard to cross. Abstaining from perceptions of sensuality. Overcoming all fetters. Having totally ended delight in becoming. One doesn't sink into the deep.
Himavata the yakkha. The one deeply discerning. Seeing the subtle goal. Having nothing. Unattached in sensual becoming. See him, everywhere released. The great seer, going the divine way.
Perfectly named. Seeing the subtle goal. Granting discernment. Unattached to sensual nostalgia. See him, all-knowing, wise. The great seer, going the noble way. Truly, it was well seen today. Well dawned, well arisen. That we saw the one self-awakened. Crossed over the flood. Effluent free.
These 1,000 yakkhas. Powerful, prestigious. All go to you for refuge. You are our teacher unexcelled. We will wander from village to village. Town to town. Paying homage to the one self-awakened. And to the Dhamma's true rightness. SN. PTS, SN-.
Alavaka Sutta, to the Alavaka yakkha. Translated from the Pali by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Copyright. Translator's note: this discourse is the source of many proverbs frequently quoted in Theravada countries. When Thailand was celebrating the th anniversary of the founding of the current dynasty, His Majesty the King structured his chief address to the Thai people around the 4 qualities mentioned in the Buddha's last verse. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying at Alavi in the haunt of the Alavaka yakkha. Then the Alavaka yakkha went to the Blessed One and on arrival said to him, "Get out, contemplative."
Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went out. "Come in, contemplative." Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went in. A second time. A third time, the Alavaka yakkha said to the Blessed One, "Get out, contemplative." Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went out. "Come in, contemplative." Saying, "All right, my friend," the Blessed One went in. Then a fourth time, the Alavaka yakkha said to the Blessed One, "Get out, contemplative."
"I won't go out, my friend. Do what you have to do. I will ask you a question, contemplative. If you can't answer me, I will possess your mind or rip open your heart or, grabbing you by the feet, hurl you across the Ganges. My friend, I see no one in the cosmos with its devas, maras and brahmas, its contemplatives and brahmins, its royalty and common folk, who could possess my mind or rip open my heart or, grabbing me by the feet, hurl me across the Ganges. But nevertheless, ask me what you wish.
Alavaka. What is a person's highest wealth? What, when well practiced, brings bliss? What is the highest of savors? Living in what way? Is one's life called the best?
The Buddha. Conviction is a person's highest wealth. Dhamma, when well practiced, brings bliss. Truth is the highest of savors. Living with discernment. One's life is called best.
Alavaka. How does one cross over the flood? How cross over the sea? How does one overcome suffering and stress? How is a person purified?
The Buddha. Through conviction one crosses over the flood. Through heedfulness, the sea. Through persistence one overcomes suffering and stress. Through discernment a person is purified.
Alavaka. How does one gain discernment? How does one find wealth? How does one attain honor? How bind friends to oneself? Passing from this world to the next world. How does one not grieve?
The Buddha. Convinced of the Arahant's Dhamma. For attaining unbinding. Heedful, observant. One listening well. Gains discernment. Doing what's fitting. Enduring burdens. One with initiative. Finds wealth. Through truth. One attains honor.
Giving. Binds friends to oneself. Endowed with these four qualities. Truth. Self-control. Stamina. Relinquishment. A householder of conviction. On passing away, doesn't grieve. Now, go ask others. Common Brahmins and contemplatives. If anything better than truth, self-control, endurance, and relinquishment here can be found.
Alavaka. How could I go ask? Common Brahmins and contemplatives? Now that today I understand. What benefits? The next life. It was truly for my well-being that the awakened one came to stay in Alavi. Today I understand. Where what is given bears great fruit. I will wander from village to village, town to town, paying homage to the self-awakened one, and the true rightness of the Dhamma.
Vijaya Sutta, victory. Translated from the Pali by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Whether walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, it flexes and stretches. This is the body's movement.
Joined together with tendons and bones. Plastered over with muscle and skin. Hidden by complexion. The body isn't seen for what it is. Filled with intestines, filled with stomach. With the lump of the liver. Bladder, lungs, heart. Kidneys, spleen. Mucus, sweat, saliva, fat. Blood, synovial fluid, bile, and oil.
On top of that, in 9 streams, filth is always flowing from it. From the eyes, eye secretions. From the ears, ear secretions. From the nose, mucus. From the mouth, now vomit. Now phlegm. Now bile. From the body, beads of sweat.
And on top of that, its hollow head is filled with brains. The fool, beset by ignorance, thinks it beautiful. But when it lies dead, swollen, livid, cast away in a charnel ground, even relatives don't care for it.
Dogs feed on it. Jackals, wolves, and worms. Crows and vultures feed on it. Along with any other animals there. Having heard the awakened one's words, the discerning monk comprehends, for he sees it for what it is. As this is, so is that. As that, so this. Within and without. He should let desire for the body fade away. With desire and passion faded away, the discerning monk arrives here. At the deathless, the calm, the undying state of unbinding. This two-footed, filthy, evil-smelling, filled with various carcasses, oozing out here and there body. Whoever would think, on the basis of a body like this, to exalt himself or disparage another. What is that, if not blindness?
Muni Sutta, the sage. Translated from the Pali by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Danger is born from intimacy. Society gives birth to dust. Free from intimacy. Free from society. Such is the vision of the sage.
Who, destroying what's born, wouldn't plant again, or nourish what will arise. They call him the wandering, singular sage. He has seen the state of peace,
Considering the ground. Crushing the seed. He wouldn't nourish the sap. Truly a sage. Seer of the ending of birth. Abandoning conjecture. He cannot be classified.
knowing all dwellings, not longing for any one anywhere. Truly a sage. With no coveting, without greed. He does not build, for he has gone beyond. Overcoming all. Knowing all. Wise.
With regard to all things. Unsmeared. Abandoning all. In the ending of craving. Released. The enlightened call him a sage. Strong in discernment. Virtuous in his practices. Centered. Delighting in jhana. Mindful. Freed from attachments. No constraints, no fermentations.
The enlightened call him a sage. The wandering solitary sage. Uncomplacent, unshaken by praise or blame. Unstartled, like a lion at sounds. Unsnared, like the wind in a net. Unsmeared, like a lotus in water. Leader of others, by others unled.
The enlightened call him a sage. Like the pillar at a bathing ford. When others speak in extremes. He, without passion. His senses well centered.
The enlightened call him a sage. Truly poised, straight as a shuttle. He loathes evil actions. Pondering what is on pitch and off. The enlightened call him a sage. Self-restrained, he does no evil. Young and middle-aged. The sage self-controlled. Never angered, he angers none.
The enlightened call him a sage. From the best. The middling. The leftovers. He receives alms. Sustaining himself on what others give. Neither flattering. Nor speaking disparagement.
The enlightened call him a sage. The wandering sage. Abstaining from sex. In youth bound by no one. Abstaining from intoxication. Complacency. Totally apart.
The enlightened call him a sage. Knowing the world. Seeing the highest goal. Crossing the ocean, the flood. Such. His chains broken. Unattached. Without fermentation.
The enlightened call him a sage. These two are different. They dwell far apart. The householder supporting a wife. And the unselfish one, of good practices. Slaying other beings, the householder. Is unrestrained. Constantly the sage protects other beings. Is controlled.
As the crested, blue-necked peacock. When flying. Never matches. The wild goose. In speed. Even so the householder. Never keeps up with the monk. The sage secluded. Doing jhana. In the forest.